It's We'll See About That with World Series MVP Ron Cey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to We'll See About That. Ron Cey here with Mike Gary, and we have got a full slate on board today. Big weekend in college football, the winding down of the Major League Baseball season, all the crazy races that are taking place for the last wild card spots. And for those of you celebrating Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, happy holidays to all of you. Mike, we have got a wild race going on. The Yankees in Toronto are tied for first place as we speak. That's going to come down to the wire, and what's at stake there is home field advantage throughout the playoffs and the first round bye, along with the other team playing in a wild card, which is up for grabs. Best of three is a nutcase, trying to figure out what the roster is going to look like and everything else. Detroit, Houston, also hanging by a thread in the National League. You got the Mets, who continue to just fall all over themselves, and Cincinnati, who came out of nowhere, and the Arizona Diamondbacks are still fighting for that last spot.
And my, well, not my, but I have an affinity towards the Seattle Mariners.
Yes,
10-1 over the last, finishing strong, clinching a playoff berth, and the big dumper,
so happy.
Kyle Raleigh, 60 home runs.
Unbelievable year. The other day, Raleigh hit 2 home runs to get to 60. The 4th American League player, 7th overall. New home run records for a switch hitter, a catcher, all time. And he hit 2 home runs. Carl Schwarber hit 2 home runs. Aaron Judge all hit 2 home runs in the same game. And Aaron Judge reached 50 home runs for the 4th time in his career, already tying, I believe, Babe Ruth.
Yes, he did indeed tie the Babe, and according to the statisticians out there, if you look at his WAR and all that, all his advanced metrics, he's number 1.
Yeah, well, he's got the highest WAR substantially. Cal Raleigh is also in that mix, but what an incredible run. I don't know. I don't have a problem with who wins the award. It's going to be sad for the one who loses.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Judge has already won it, and so I'd like to see Cal Raleigh get it, because all that from a catcher, not only hitting 60 home runs, but calling the games as well.
Unbelievable. I still, it's like kid stuff. It's like this is a game board thing where you've reached Little League stuff in the major leagues. Unbelievable. The New York Giants football team has got a new starting quarterback. Russell Wilson has been sent to the bench for Jackson Dart. And we are going to take a jump into our break. We'll be right back with this after that. Okay, we're here with Brad Kreger from BFF Financial. And Brad, let's step away from the field to finances. Today's topic, one of the most overlooked plays in personal finance, life insurance. Why is that?
Well, Ron, I like to think of life insurance as a solid defensive strategy. It's better to have something and not need it than to need it and not have it, if you know what I mean.
So give us the basics. What should our listeners know?
Well, the simple truth is life insurance really isn't about dying. It's about protecting those you leave behind, whether that's your spouse, your kids, or your business. It's about allowing your family or your business to continue without immediate major changes if something were to happen to you. And here in California, where the cost of living is pretty high and real estate isn't cheap, it's even more important to have that insurance in place.
So let's talk numbers. What are the ballpark figures someone should know?
Well, a good rule of thumb for me to start at is about 20 times your annual income. And that might sound like a big number, but when you think through all the different things you need to cover, whether it be a mortgage, college tuition, your daily expenses, that stuff adds up fast. And you want a starting point. That 20 times coverage is a really good starting place.
And there's more than one kind of coverage, right?
Absolutely, yeah. There's term insurance, where you're buying a specific amount for a specific period of time and no cash value. And then there's permanent insurance, which does grow cash values and can provide for your family with more than just a death benefit. Within that, there's whole life, universal life, and variable life. The distinctions and differences is beyond our conversation today. But the right fit depends upon your age, your goals, and whether you're looking for a simple coverage for a short term or you want a longer term financial strategy.
So the key is understanding the basics and figuring out what kind of coverage you need and when.
Yeah. That's why we put together a simple free guide that walks through the basics.
When you have a family, meaning kids, you have an obligation to protect them and provide for them, even if you're no longer around.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, as we both know, when you have kids, that obligation starts the minute they're born and doesn't end until you die, and then extends beyond that. Look, life insurance is among the things that you need to have to protect what matters most, which is family. If you're not sure what kind of life insurance coverage you have right now or what kind you need, now's the time to get clarity. So call me at 888-9084-BFF or visit bffinancial.com. Look for resources tab, field to finances, and download our free guide, Understanding Life Insurance Basics. Because money matters, but life matters more.
There you have it. That's Brad Kreger from BFF Financial. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, no problem. We'll see you next week, Ron.
You bet. They still call me the Penguin. Okay, we are back. We'll see about that after the break with our special guest, Dana Pump. Dana will receive a beautiful fruit gift basket courtesy of our friends at Melissa's Produce. Melissa's is a proud partner of We'll See About That. Please use my VIP code RONSAY when checking out at melissas.com. Today we have a very good friend that goes back many, many years. Raised and born in Southern California, has an identical twin in David, who I'm told is a lot smarter than Dana. And they both went to Cal State Northridge. Their family raised them with an emphasis of hard work, community service, and philanthropy. We're going to talk more about all the things that they're involved with. Dana, thank you so much for joining us. How's your day going so far?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Ron. It's a pleasure. And as I told you, I was a big Dodger fan in the 80s, and the joy, I really meant that. Like at our gala when you were there, and Mike, Sosha, and Dusty, those are my heroes as a kid. And I'm glad I can get on and, tell our story, and we can help anyone or people going through things. I'm here for you.
Well, thank you so much. And it was a great gala down at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. We had megastars from basketball. We had Oscar Robertson, Rick Barry. We had Shaq. We had Magic. There were others, baseball, Dave Stewart, Eric Davis, Mike Sosha, Steve Garvey, Dusty Baker, myself. What an incredible, and you had movie stars, of course. Spike Lee was there, Mike Tyson was there, Sugar Ray was there. That's quite a job getting these people to come to your events. What a spectacle it was.
Yeah, I have an incredible passion for my mother and father's legacy. So after 25 years of all these incredible relationships, and I wanted to make the 25th very special, and the honor of Wayne Gretzky, Barry Bonds, Spike Lee, and Aaron Donald set the bar really high, and Robin Thicke performing, and it was definitely our best night financially. Our best night was star power, and it was special.
Yes, it was. And tell us how that all got started. I know that the money that you raise, which is in the neighborhood of $15 million, you've done a lot of stuff for Northridge Hospital.
Yeah. So Dad's dying in hospice. David and I come talk to Dad. We said, we're going to start a foundation. We put pictures around his bed and said, hey, we're going to raise money. And David and I, 2 days later, we met a lady from Earthlink. Earthlink, that's how old it is. Mm-hmm. Sent us $25,000. And I always tell people that seed she planted, she believed in us. And we've been planting a lot of seeds, and obviously it's growing. And what we put together in honor of my mom and dad is special. And we have all these incredible relationships. I mean, Magic Johnson to come introduce us. That's a 35-year-old relationship, and it was a special, special night.
Yes, it was. And your foundation, you have a lot of things that are incorporated that, and a lot of it is centered around basketball.
Yeah.
How did that take place? And tell us about your elite basketball camps and how you help these young kids kind of secure
Yeah.
a future.
So at a young age, 16 years old, we started basketball camps, David and I, and all those relationships and all those kids, whether it was Paul Pierce, Paul George, Clay Thompson, would play on the pump and run travel ball. Every sport has big travel ball. We were kind of pioneers, whether it was tournaments where Kobe played, LeBron played in. All those kids were participated with the Pump Brothers, and our antenna was everywhere. We had a scouting service where all the colleges subscribed to. We had an executive search firm where we hired college basketball coaches. We were in the ticket business, which is our main revenue, how we live. Tickets like Barry's Tickets, and David and I say it all along. It's all about relationships in any kind of business and charity. And so that was our passion, basketball. And, did it for 30 years. We pivoted around 8 years ago. I didn't like where college basketball was going with kids, AAU. So we had a great run. We met a lot of great relationships and friends, and we've pivoted to do other things, but it all started through our basketball camps.
What are you focusing on in the moment since you've moved away from that a bit? And I'd kind of like to touch a little bit about that.
We have a company called the Pump Group, and through the Pump Group, we work with a lot of companies like Built, the clothing company, BYLT. We were able to use our relationships, whether it was the Mike Tyson fight, 6 months ago with Mike, and getting Mike, on board with Built and develop all that content to legitimize that brand. F1 Miami, getting Built involved. I work with a company called Scout, where all these kids in college are getting paid through an app. And most companies can't get behind the velvet rope, whether it's athletic directors or decision makers. And Adidas has been a big client of ours, whether it's World Cup coming up, Olympics, Super Bowl, NBA All-Star Game. And we've been able to really build a great partnership with Adidas. So we got our hands full. And then my real love is for my parents' foundation. And obviously, my wife has a foundation. She does really incredible stuff. So I take it I want to help her. I want to make her shine. And then I got babies late in life, Ron. They're 4 years old, and God blessed me with a boy and a girl.
Well, it's pretty special. You have twins.
Yes, I do.
Cassie and Dane, and your wife Leah is president and CEO of Ladylike Foundation. I imagine she's pretty busy with that.
She is. Her heart's serving God, and she's like Mother Teresa. She bought a building in LA, South Central, and she's 100% pure, and she wants to help young girls of color to how to be a lady, how to be a woman. It's all through her program, and she puts on an event like ours. And yes, I'm involved in that. My hands are all over it. And, most young people don't know how to, connect with people and ask and make money. And I think, like, this year was our 25th. I said, Leah, should we stop? And she looked at me and said, no, God has given you and David a gift to help others. You'll continue to do that. I said, okay, you're right. So that's, now my life is consumed about my beautiful family. And, I had kids late in life, Ron. So I'm extremely thankful and blessed, to have the life I have now.
Well, I think you're one of those fortunate people that can understand, what it means for them to be philanthropic and give back to the people. It seems like you've incorporated that throughout your entire family, and what your parents passed you down seem like really great lessons that more people should probably learn from.
You're 100% right. It's all how you were raised. My mother was a stay-at-home mom, and she nurtured David and I. I get my personality from my mother, and my dad was a passive, but my father was at every one of our games in his members only jersey, and I really believe it's all how you're raised. And think about this, Ron. Everyone that came to our charity event and gave money, people give to people. People don't give to causes. We're not City of Hope. We're not Boys and Girls Club. We're two boys with one ball and one dream. And we've taken that passion and that seed, and I think we're doing incredible work. And I'm fired up for year 26 now.
Well, that's great because you definitely are sharing the basketball. We're going to be right back with Dana Pump right after this. Hello, Ron Say.
And we are back. We'll see about that with the legend, the champion, the MVP, Mr. Ron Say. I am Mike Gary, and we are honored to be joined with Dana Pump, a philanthropist, and also a proud graduate, along with myself, the California University at Northridge, otherwise known as the Harvard of the Valley. And he's one of the true greats of that college, as the aforementioned Harvard of the Valley. And Dana, I want to ask you a little bit about, you worked with so many great future NBA pros back when they were younger. Can you give us share some stories about,
Oh, for sure.
some of those kids?
I remember the Holiday brothers. They live in Northridge. There's three of them played in the NBA, and they lived. And I remember they tried out at a young age. They were so athletic. It was hard to tell, but it's those relationships. Jesus, Paul George. No one knew about him. I went to Palmdale. My friend told me there was a really great, talented kid out there. Paul was just wet by the ears, but we had a great platform, Ron, where people can get exposure with the Pump AAU team or the Pump tournament. Klay Thompson, I remember, meeting Michael and his mom, and they said, "Oh, we're gonna let Klay play with you." Klay was under recruited. He went to Washington State.
So did I.
Yeah, I know that. So, and then James Harden. James Harden was a prolific high school player at Artesia. His high school coach Scott Parrish says, "Don't talk to James till the end of the season." And I went and met him at Tony Romo's, and I hired Jim Herrick, the former coach at UCLA, and we had a great run. But those are what I miss, those relationships. There's so many. God, wherever I go, like I was in the airport coming home from the Dodger game. This kid came up to me and says, "Hey, Dana, I played in your pump and run tournaments." That's what I miss. There's so many great stories how kids got scholarships. I mean, the coach at Sierra Canyon played on the pump and run team. Mm-hmm. It's all over, and then so many successful kids. So we just used our platform. We did some good. The game of basketball has really changed, and I don't like where it's at. And it's all about one thing: money. It was always about money, but it's not about the education or going to a good school. Kids are leaving Stanford.
Yeah. I do. Since you brought it up, college basketball hasn't been about education for quite some time. It's a one and done. And now it's even, for me, gotten worse because of the transfer portals and the NIL, and that adds to what was already going on. And give me your thoughts on that.
Can't create a culture at all. You can't discipline kids. They'll go in the portal. No one's going for the right fit. Like the quarterback at UCLA might be the best case study. Should have stayed at Tennessee. They're a big time program. They got real tackles on both sides. They got money to pay backup players. Where UCLA, might not win a game, has very little money besides the money the school gave them. the last couple of years they were playing way behind the eight ball. So the guy leaves he wanted like extort Tennessee for more money, and he leaves.
Yeah.
Now he's going to probably transfer again. Now he gets paid, and it's just disgusting.
Well, the 2 maybe 3 years ago, Cam Ward was at Washington State, and Mateer was the backup. After Cam Ward has a great year, leaves, goes to transfers to Miami, John Mateer becomes the starting quarterback. Now John Mateer is at University of Oklahoma for $1.5 million mill, as I'm told. You're right. There is no culture anymore. You have to recruit. You have to go do work. You can't mold a team like John Wooden did at UCLA in the times of Jabbar, Lou Alcindor.
Can't discipline them, Ron.
No, you can't. You can't. You're right. And you can't blend this together to where you really have a truly outstanding team like they did. And with the Walton gang and all the other UCLA teams that came after them, it's impossible to have a really good basketball team, I think, in just 1 year of preparation. Look what happened to Duke last year.
Yeah, it's taken my love for sports. I root for my friends. I root for my NFL friends that coach or work in the front office. And it's hard. I'm not a football guy. I go to games for entertainment and, more for my foundation. It's a good touch. Me and David say you have to touch people 3-4 times before you make an ass. It's a good passive touch. It's incredible to me. You go there, a game, you watch it, and you're sweet. And that's what, but I lost my love for everything. I have a love for USC football, UCLA basketball. It's changed, Ron. Think about this, Ron. How great was Washington State for so many years, and they would beat SC. I mean, they win the Rose Bowl. It's just unbelievable what they did at Pullman. Now it's money, and they don't have the money to compete. And it's changed my love for the sport.
Well, it all came tumbling down here in the last couple of years, when the Pac-12 disintegrated. And now, 4 teams migrate to the Big Ten. And it leaves Washington State and Oregon State hanging. And there's no West Coast football anymore, as we know it.
The only team we have hope for is Southern Cal, but it's a big test. They play Illinois this week. You know what I hate, Ryan? You're going to agree with me. So Arch Manning's kid at Texas, they buy a win. They play Sam Houston State.
Right.
What do you expect them to do? You're paying a team $1.5 million. You're playing with 1 stars and 2 stars, and all the rich schools buy their wins. USC, Michigan State might have been but all those early games, Missouri State was the first year they were Division I. Of course, SC's going to win the game. So it's just the rich are just going to get richer in sports. But and I do think all these schools are bleeding. I know UCLA is bleeding for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a point of concern for years, where you pad your early 3 non-conference games.
Yeah.
I used to kid my wife, who went to Fran of University of Wisconsin, who I think, and if you look at them today, I would say you consider them a top 25 football program.
Absolutely.
Year in and year out. It doesn't look that way right in the moment. But I used to kid her about, I say, well, you invite, Green Bay Elementary School to come and play you, the first game of the year. You pay them $1 million to come in and take a beating. And, you get off to a 3-0 start, and you have no idea of how good you are.
It's you're 100%. But I watched like Texas. Manning had a great game. they played Sam Houston State.
Yeah.
But it's just.
I don't think that it's fair to say that you can gauge how good a player is when they throw 5 touchdown passes in like 7 minutes. Okay.
No.
I mean, is this touch football? I mean, are you playing anybody? Or are you just, three plays down the field and you score? You got to come up with something better than that.
Well, it also seems to me, gentlemen, that it behooves they got to pay for this somehow, and the way they pay for all this stuff is through their media rights. And Texas, has their own network pretty much, and Notre Dame,
yes,
who's ranked number 22 right now and is 1-2,
right.
And I mean, because that's NBC's meal ticket. I mean, NBC makes a lot of money after those Notre Dame games.
Well, now explain to me, Washington, who plays number 1 Ohio State this weekend in Seattle, and we'll get an understanding of how good Washington is, because Washington is 3-0, and they have a top 25 program. They were just in the national championship here 2 years ago. Okay, why aren't they ranked? How is Notre Dame, even though they lost 2 tough games, with 2 losses, how are they ranked?
Yeah, or Texas with 1 loss, and played against, a couple tomato cans, they're number 10.
Yeah, and especially with the dull and boring game that they played, with no creativity whatsoever against Ohio State that first game. Is it the fact that it was a 7-point game? Does that mean that, hey, that was a really, really tough game? I would have liked to have seen that game take place maybe game 4 or game 5, to put them through that kind of difficulty. What was it, number 1 and 3 at the time? To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And one of those teams is in jeopardy because they were both determined to be one of those playoff teams at the end of the season. I don't know if that does good or bad. Any opinions on that, Dana?
I couldn't agree more with you. Like, think about this. Is SC going to continue their rivalry with Notre Dame when you have a tough Big Ten schedule as it is? That's a tough one. I think it's all going to go to maybe 2 conferences eventually. The SEC, and then I think the ACC and the Big 12 get together. It's all about media rights. But a lot of these schools have borrowed money just recently, like UCLA. They're all. I really mean this, Ron. They're, all the, like UCLA. No one goes to the games. Nobody cares. They play games at 8:00 on a Saturday night. Like USC play Michigan State at 8:00. Halftime is 10:15, and you're not getting home. Yeah. I just think it's all about revenue. That's why the Pac-12, descended, and all these guys went for more money.
Yeah.
But you got to remember now. So,
Dana, we're going to hold you right there. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Dana right after this message.
The fans are rooting for the Dodgers of old LA.
And we are back. We'll see about that with the legend champion MVP Ron Cey. I am Mike Gary, and this week in Dodger history, presented by BFF Financial, 1981. This is a tough one for you, Ron. Nolan Ryan becomes the first pitcher to throw 5 no-hitters when the Astros defeat the Dodgers at the Astrodome 5-0. The Ryan Express, who had finished his 27-year Major League career with a record 7 no-nos, previously has thrown hitless games against the Royals, Tigers, Twins, and the Baltimore Orioles.
And it wasn't as painful for me as it was for my teammates, because that was the only time in my career that I was on the DL.
Oh.
Yes. And so I did not play in that game. And I was there because I had just had my cast removed, and I had been taking batting practice to get ready for the playoffs because we had already secured a playoff spot. But yes, if you're going to get no hit by somebody, I guess it's the King.
Well, I'm sure if you did appear in that game, you would have gone 4 for 4.
Oh, I don't think so. I think Nolan probably would have continued striking out guys like he did. Anyway, what a great accomplishment. Kudos to Nolan. He was part of our Nike Pro Club too, so I got to rub elbows with him rather than getting struck out by him. Yeah.
Or being by him.
Yeah. All right, we're going to lead back to Dana, who has more to talk about. Dana, take it away.
You know what, Ron? We were talking about like the rivalries. They're over. Like it's sad. Like Stanford, Cal still play each other. Uh, like SC, Notre Dame. I just think it's all driven about money. But I think we both live in Southern California. I think we have a problem at UCLA. I mean, do we get it on campus? Do they move to SoFi with their fan base because the games are late because of TV for more money, and the product is at bottom right now. So, but I do love college football. I think our country loves college football. Those media right deals are crazy, Ron.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I would kind of hate to see, just because of tradition, UCLA moving out of the Rose Bowl. I mean, it's such an incredible place to play your home games. Maybe they can move the time up to make it more economical and more feasible all the way around. But I always felt that the Pac-10, when they were revenue sharing, which all these programs got to upgrade. They all built new stadiums, and when you go up to the University of Washington and you play at Husky Stadium, that's one of the top 5 playing fields ranked yearly. You get to go to the LA Coliseum. You get to go to the Rose Bowl. You go up to Oregon, and what Nike has done for Oregon is, put them on top of the world. And, everybody has a new facility. Washington State now used to have to go up to Spokane to play their football games, now has their home field right in the middle of the campus. And you can fly in there now. Teams can fly into Pullman. So I miss that. I miss the fact that the Conference of Champions doesn't exist in.
Well, it's also, I mean, it seems that all that money that was used to build those new stadiums, they have to really think about that now going directly to the players. And so there's a cash flow issue when it comes to building the infrastructure.
Right, now you've got another problem for the university, because is it not true, Dana, that they are responsible for the nils?
Yeah, I'm just telling you, we haven't seen anything yet. It's going to get really, really. Can you imagine like a team that's already lost 2-3 games, like whether it's Oregon State or Washington State? How do you draw people? It's already, end of September, and you're already, you need to be winning to keep the attendance going. I was very good friends with the Washington staff, football coach DeBoer, great friend of mine, Courtney Morgan. So I was part of that whole thing. I went to the national championship. I was on the sidelines. I just think now, Coach DeBoer is playing Georgia this weekend.
Right.
At Georgia.
Yep.
They've never lost 2 games. They'll be 2-2. They got LSU. The pressure for now. You look back. Should he have stayed? Of course, they had it. But it was a lot more money. I always think bigger, is not always better. And I just think if he would have stayed at Washington, they had it really rolling. I mean, now you got to remember, Oregon is, they're top of the food chain financially, facilities, gear, everything. And Washington beat them twice that year. We beat them at home, and then we beat them in the Pac-12 tournament. And I was at both those games. I'm just saying, money is good, but money doesn't guarantee you wins at all. And we've seen that. And
yeah, I'm disappointed like you are. I was hoping that he would stay. The problem with it is he probably read between the lines and saw that Washington next year was going to lose not only to the draft and portals, their entire offense. And how do you turn down a job at Alabama? I would say that they were probably the team of the decade, and Georgia would be right behind them.
Oh, Alabama,
right?
For sure.
And so you have an opportunity. Look, Washington is a top 25 program. There's no question about it. They draw, they play well, they're undefeated right now. They're playing number 1 Ohio State. We're going to find out how good they are this weekend. He was going to get a pay bump, I'm pretty sure.
A big bump.
But
Yeah.
to take and leave and go, it kind of goes hand in hand with what's happening throughout college sports, the transfer portal and the NILs.
Oh, for sure.
It's like when I was, I'm a little bit younger than you guys, just a little bit. And the transfers always seem to happen. They made it very, very hard. You had to sit out or redshirt for a year. Right. And it really only happened. The guys that would transfer were the guys who like maybe had a pro career, but weren't getting any playing time because they were behind a better player. Mm-hmm. And Dana made a really good point too about how, you can't yell at a kid anymore because he can transfer. And so
can't coach him like at all. But I do think, I know the administration's trying to work with Nick Saban on how to change, at least getting someone's ear in the pulse. And I do think it needs a lot of fixing to make it a long-term situation, but it's not sustainable. Of course, Ohio State's going to be able to raise money and, Alabama, but it's all those other schools. And look what happened at Texas Tech. This billionaire comes in and pays the softball girl, $1 million.
Yes. Yeah.
And look at Oklahoma. They paid Dave Roberts' niece, like $1 million to play. Now, Oklahoma pays those girls. The rich are just going to, Oregon is always going to be good. They have money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just destined to be this way. The rich are going to get richer. The kids are going to go to places where they have programs that are high profile. They're going to pay you the money to do the job. You're not going to have to worry about recruiting like someone else.
Yeah. I'll give you a great example. CSUN basketball had their winningest year in the history last year, 22 wins. 3 of their players left and got almost $1.5 million combined.
Wow.
So to me, CSUN did a great job. They found guys, and you can't hold the kid back. You gotta let him go make the money. But it's out of control. But it's where we're at, state of college athletics.
And I agree. And you know what? When you take a look singularly at basketball, you see that the NBA draft, you have 2 rounds, 60-some players out of the entire country are going to have an opportunity to play professional basketball. And you know it as I know it, there are a lot of really, really good college basketball players that just don't get that chance. But
ask yourself this, Ron, how many American lottery picks were there?
Right,
there was
right.
A lot of foreign kids. And, to me, you get an American superstar, the culture, their posse, social media.
Right.
You get a kid from Lithuania. I just think it's so much better. I hate to say it, but our culture is out of control. So many hands, trying to eat on a bone, and I hope we can fix it. Because sports is whatever. When USC is winning, it helps the university. UCLA. Basketball and football, we need sports to be successful.
Yeah, we do, because that is part of our culture. And, as you said, basketball most particularly has, it's a world game now and has been. I mean, Wembanyama, the kid 7'6" that plays for San Antonio now.
It's a freak.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he goes out there and shoots threes like it's,
There's no 5 guys. There's no 5 men at all, Ron. There's no Kareems. There's no Waltons. There's no Cartwright or Jack Sigma. We don't have any 5s anymore.
Yeah, and as those foreign players too. I mean, they grew up learning the fundamentals. They play on their national teams,
right?
And so they develop teammates and rapport with their teammates for years. And our American players. They're not practicing. They're just playing games. Dana knows better than anybody. In AAU, all you do is you play 3-4 games a day, new team the next week, so on and so forth. You're really showcasing yourself rather than actually trying to win the game.
Well, when you have it's no different when you're at the end of the year, school year for high school basketball, and they have these All-America games. It looks like an NBA All-Star game again, where there's not a lot of kids that they're all out there trying to do their individual thing, and there's not a lot of defense, and there's a lot of bad decisions being made because the guy will go one-on-one instead of playing the game that they know. I don't know if it highlights their skills as well as it should be, but I think this is where, when you have these elite camps, this would probably help tone that down a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Dana, we got about a minute left, and we want to thank you so much for joining us. One of the great matadors of all time. And I want to know.
Hold on. Do I get to ask Ron a question?
Go for
You
it.
do.
Ron, did you watch the documentary on Nolan Ryan?
I did not see that documentary yet.
Oh, it's Fastball. It's his documentary was tremendous. Just a ordinary guy, live a simple life. He's a country boy. It was terrific.
Yeah, well, he is a good old country hardballer, and I just hope they don't show every clip of him striking me out.
We can go watch this on YouTube. Dana, if people want to actually get involved and help out the philanthropy you're doing, where can people?
I think the best ways is DM me on Instagram. I respond to everything, and that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Got it.
Dana Pump on Instagram, and I appreciate this, and I hope I did a good job for you guys.
You did fantastic, Dana. Thanks so much for joining us. Great job. Thank you. And
thank you, Mike.
There you have it. Dana Pump. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back after this message.
Hey, Ron. How you doing?
Campy, just fine.
Okay, we're wrapping our segment up for this week. We'll see about that. Want to remind you to visit my website, theronsayshow.com. My book, Penguin Power, is over there with multiple signing options. We've got a menu for our previous guests on We'll See About That is accessible at the site. And you can also reach me at Instagram at the official Ron Say, and at Cameo for special requests. So please take a look at all that and see if you can find something you might enjoy. The Washington Huskies are entertaining the number 1 ranked team in the country this Saturday in Seattle, the Ohio State Buckeyes, and that is the one of the big games on the ledger for this weekend. Also, number 6 Oregon is going to have a real big test at number 3 Penn State back there, and of course another big game in the SEC. Alabama, I believe, is visiting Georgia. Those 3 games are really big in terms of the national scope of things, but I guess we'll find out how good they all are at this point. I'm particularly interested in seeing how good Washington is. I hope they can be a formidable opponent for number 1 Ohio State.
Yeah. Also, I think too that's Penn State always super tough at home.
Yeah.
So that game should be great. And Alabama Georgia. I mean, the historic rivalry. We'll see. Actually, Georgia on a hot streak right now.
There's a lot of pressure on these games right now. Even though it's early in the season, it kind of dictates what takes place down the road.
So, Ron, we got about a minute before we wrap things up here, and I know we have a lot of Dodger fans listening. How should they feel going into this last couple of days?
Well, number 1, they're going to be in a wild card position, not a position that they had hoped for. Even though in the past they have also not really cared for a week off. It kind of throws off the timing a bit. But it's dicey, okay, to say the least. You have a team that has played below 500, considerably below 500 since the All-Star break or the beginning of the first week in July, however you want to look at it. A 3-game series, there's no wiggle room in there. That first game is got to be won. So I would say, Dodger fans, the advantage that you have right now is that you're playing at home for 3 days, and you better hope that it's a team that you've handled in the past, because it's going to be tough. But either way, it's going to be real exciting. Baseball has won again. The exciting races that went down to the wire, still to be determined. Great for baseball fans. So I want to thank you for enjoying today's episode with Dana Pump, and good luck on the weekend.